This is Beer in Front, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Every week I'll talk about a beer that maybe we've forgotten along the way while we get those check-ins and badges. Some weeks I'll talk about a new beer that has potential to be a classic. Being the Chicago beer guy, I'll also talk about great craft beer and craft beer news in the city of Chicago. Remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to a special bonus episode of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a proud member of the Odd Pods Media Network. With all the interview shows I've had the last month or so, I've been itching to do just a regular normal 15-minute Beer in Front episode, so I'm doing that for you today. This will just be the typical beer news, the beer I'm drinking, just stuff like that. So next week will be a regular interview show. I'm going to be over at Second City Meadery talking about some great meads over there, but I mentioned I just wanted to do a regular show. I had some free time this week, so here it is. Also, don't forget, there was a show that came out a few days ago with Ryan over at Soundtrack Your Life. Listen to that. Take notes, because I'm going to give away a free Beer in Front t-shirt, and I'll have details for that on all the social media channels like Twitter, Threads, Instagram. So follow me there, and you could learn how to win a free Beer in Front t-shirt this week. If you're just listening to this and you'd like to see the face behind the voice, this episode is going to be on video over on YouTube as well. So you could watch the show if you'd like over on YouTube. But finish listening to this. Give me at least a watch or a listen here on your podcast player. Then give me a watch over on YouTube, because that helps the show out. All right, let's just kick this show off, and I will see you in a minute. In beer news this week, Iowa State is coming out with a new beer called Clone Fest, and this is going to support the NIL licenses for student athletes that participate in the big sports like basketball, football, women's basketball. So if you're in the Iowa area, you could look for Clone Fest. In really cool news, Funky Town, they're out of Chicago. They won a contest from Boston Beer Company, and Boston Beer Company is going to get behind Funky Town, and they're going to do partnerships. They're giving them, as you could hear Moira in the background, they're going to give Funky Town a lot of money, which is going to go help expand their brewery. This is really cool. I've actually been in touch with Funky Town. We're doing some emailing back and forth, and I hope to have them on the show in the next month or so. I know they've been kind of busy, and this announcement is going to make them a lot busier. But hopefully I could have the guys from Funky Town on, and we could talk about their great brewery. Stone is coming out with the Imperial Notorious POG. That's passion fruit, guava, and orange. I had to look down. See, I'm not used to looking at the camera while I have my notes. But look for this from Stone. This is supposed to be an imperial version. This looks pretty good as well. Anheuser-Busch is teaming up with a tequila company called Los Sundays, and they're going to have a tequila-based seltzer that's going to be branded under the Los Sundays name. So look for that if you're into seltzers. And finally, in late-breaking beer news, Anchor has shut its doors, or Sapporo, that owns Anchor. They shut the iconic brewery down after 127 years. Now, the assets are going to be up for sale, so someone in theory could buy the assets, the name, the branding, and relaunch it in the future, which I think will probably happen. Maybe not to the extent of a national brewery anymore, but they could keep it local because let's face it, California is a huge market. And even if they just focused on California, I think whoever would buy the assets would probably make out. And since they shut it down, you could probably buy it on the cheap. So, but it is sad. I've talked about Anchor on the show many times. It's an iconic beer. Their Liberty Ale was one of the first, if not the first, IPA out there. The Christmas Ale is always phenomenal. So it really is sad. But, I mean, let's face it. When was the last time you went out and bought an Anchor Steam? It's been forever. You can't find it anywhere outside of like here locally in Chicago at Binny's, and who knows how old it is when you get it. So it's sad, but Anchor Steam is finally going away after 127 years. When you're done watching or listening to this, check out my friends over at the Odd Pods Media Network. Whatever you like, they've got a show for you. You could follow Beard Ale Podcast because, fuck you, that's why. The ever-trending story, Grab 'em in the Brisket, From the Middle, Infectious Groove Music, Married with Television, The Muck Podcast, or Super Media Bros. All of them are friends of mine. I like their shows. I listen to them every week. So when you're done watching or listening to this, head over to Odd Pods Media, and you could find another show that I think you'll enjoy as well. All right, the beer that's in front of me right now is Trumer Pils. Trumer Pils has been around since 1775 over in Austria. In 1994, they opened a sister brewery in Berkeley, California. They've been brewing it there for the U.S. market since then. I've heard great things about this. It's won a ton of medals. I don't think I've ever had it. So we're going to have right now Trumer Pils. That's an award-winning can open sound right there. If you're watching this on video, you could see that Trumer Pils has a really nice pale color, good foam, good carbonation here. I really get the noble hops in the aroma. I think it really smells fantastic. That's very crisp, clean, refreshing. I get more malt in the taste than I do from the hops. The malt hits me up front. I think it's delicious. I think it's more carbonated than a lot of other beers. I wasn't quite expecting that. Very good carbonation here. I get a lot of the hops at the end. I think this is a killer Pilsner. I would drink this more often. Now, I picked this up at a bottle shop here in Chicago. I'm sure you could get it at your chain liquor stores like Binny's here and others. I don't believe I've seen this in like grocery stores or any places like that, but this is a really good beer, not high in alcohol. According to the can, it's 4.9%. I think this is good. If you're looking for a Pilsner, pick it up. It's fresh. According to the can, it's best by September 29th of this year, so it's good to go. I'd pick one up, put it in the cart, give it a try. I bought this in the stovepipe can, but on their website, they have it in your traditional six-pack formats. Trumer Pils is really good. I'd put it in the cart. All right, the next beer in front of me, I talked about on the show a couple of weeks ago. Rob from the Internet Talks Beer heard my pleas for help and sent me from Canada the Ferguson Jenkins beer. This beer, if you're watching on video, has great artwork. Looks like a 70s baseball card. Now, this is brewed by Sons of Kent. They are in Chatham, which is in Canada. This beer is only available in Canada, so let's crack it open. That's a Hall of Fame can open right there. As you can see, well, if you're listening, you can't see, but if you're watching, you could see there's good carbonation here on the Ferguson Jenkins beer. Nice golden color, good 3 fingers of foam on this. Just smells like a classic lager, something you would have at a ballpark. Get the nice malt notes to it. Very sweet. I get sweetness from the malt here, but it's very refreshing. This is a good beer. Yeah, that's really good. This clocks in at 5% alcohol. You could have a couple at a ball game and not get hammered. I really like this. I don't know a lot about Sons of Kent, but if the rest of the beers they put out are as good as the Fergie Jenkins, that's a place you want to go to. So once again, I want to thank Rob from the Internet Talks Beer for sending me this Ferguson Jenkins beer. This is a can I'll be saving, and I appreciate it. I've talked before, Fergie Jenkins was my favorite player growing up, so it means a lot that Rob found this and got it on its way out to me. So thanks again, Rob, and thank you, Fergie. Before I close this out, I want to thank people in the following countries who have listened to this show in the last month. I've had people from Nepal, Panama, Barbados, Georgia, and Algeria listen to the. Why is someone in Algeria listening to Beer in Front? But I thank you. If you're watching this or listening to this now, I thank you for listening. It just strikes me as odd. Like, who in Algeria is like, I want to listen to this ass clown in Chicago talk about beer, but I thank you. If you'd like to win a t-shirt, listen to the last episode that I had with Ryan over at Soundtrack Your Life and tell me Ryan's favorite soundtrack. You could email me, Dave at Beer in Front. Use contest as your subject so I could filter it out that way. The winner will receive an extra large. That's right, it's a black extra large shirt. If you're small, drink some beer and grow into it. So it's a black extra large shirt. You will win that. I will mail it out to you next week. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. If you need to get a hold of me, you could email me, Dave at Beer in Front, or you could find me on all the social media channels like Threads over at Beer in Front. I'll see you next week. I'm going to have an interview with Second City Meadery. So be on the lookout for that next week. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. All right, I'll see you next week on Beer in Front.